In 4 days' time, this lake behind me will be playing host to this year's £30,000 Golden Reel Final. We've got anglers here today fishing the open match who are using this as a practice session, and I've brought my tattle along as well. So we're going to be fishing 11 until 4, and I've decided to leave the pole at home. It's rod only for me today. I'm going to be fishing the bomb, the method feeder. I have got a pellet waggler as well, so I'm sure this is going to be a really interesting match. Peg 9. Now I do know this area. I didn't realise this is where this peg was. Get like that today. Peg 9. There we go. All the wind really is hitting it over. It was hitting it more on that other bank, but there's loads of room here. Parking behind my peg, which is great. Much better for Dad, so he's behind me. And yeah, out of that rain, they have forecast some thunderstorms as well later on today. So I know exactly what I'm going to do already. So I'm going to get some gear out and get a bit of ground bait mixed up, and yeah, I'll talk you through the approach and show you the kit once I'm set up. They have forecast storms later on this afternoon, but as you can see, the sun has actually made an appearance. It's really nice over here on this far bank. This is over on Shalley Bank. There are the shallies there. There's the slope that comes down the ramp, and as you can see, I'm a couple of pegs below. It's a really nice spot. I've only really fished this area in silverfish competitions, which is a completely different ball game, but today's any method. All species count. As I said earlier, I haven't brought the pole, so I've got a range of rod and reel setups covered and set up. So we've got about half an hour before the start now. So let me just flick round, show you the swim and everything. Got the measuring sticks up, but I'm only using those on one line. Long landing net handle, because I'm set back a little bit here. I've got to admit, if I'd had my platform with me, I would have been down there, but it's a little bit too deep and it feels a bit unsafe just for box legs. In an ideal world I would have been sat down there, but I'm only rod and line fishing, so I am set back up here where it feels a little bit safer, but it's going to be a little bit awkward with my nets and stuff. I'm not going to be able to get full use out of the toolbar, not as well as what I should be able to, but I'm sure I can manage it. So rod wise, let me just quickly summarise this in a few seconds for you. I've got a bait up feeder set up there, that's for feeding down this margin down here, or out there if I want to do that, but I'm definitely going to be targeting that margin to the right. There isn't anyone at the next peg, and then I think it's Zach who's the next angler along. So I've been down there with the bomb. It's really nice and clean. It's about 3 feet deep. It looks okay. I've got a 12-foot distance set up there that is clipped up at 50 meters, which I'm hoping I don't even have to pick up. I don't want to have to go out there into that open water. I've got an 11-foot commercial set up with a method feeder. That is to, obviously I can cast that anywhere, but it's designed to fish over my loose fed pellet line. I have got a pellet waggler set up as well, as you can see. So I've got that set up. I've only seen a couple of fish showing at the moment, but it is there if I need it. And then I've got a 9-foot XRC bomb rod, and that is just with a bomb on it and a normal hook length. Elasticated feeders today, elasticated stems on the bombs and the feeders. And the side tray is quite simple as you'd expect. I've done the schoolboy error because I did a wash of all my hand towels. I forgot to put them back in once they were dry. So I'm improvising with a spare sauna baits hat just to keep my pellets covered up from that sun. I don't want to put the bait brolly up yet because it's going to block all this out for you, so I know you like to see what's happening. 8mm pellets, I've got plenty of them to loose feed. Nice strong catapult. I'm going to ping in them straight, well, slightly to the right to be honest, and just as far as I can comfortably feed them. I've got some corn which I plan on feeding down there. Some water there just for different uses, topping up my pellets, washing my hands and stuff. I've got some ground bait there, that's the marine green. Not sure if I'm going to need that. I did only mix that up to target down that right hand margin, but it's an option if I want to. And then I've got my micro pellets, which are out of the sun, which are for the method feeder, and that is it. That's all I've got. As you can see, I've got a variety of hook baits here, different ones there, some pelletos, they're drilled, some 8mm wafters there, and these are some prototypes, Sonobaits prototypes that I've been using for the last month or so. I'll probably kick off with one of them actually, and they are in an 8mm size, and that is it. There's some spare pellets there, drinks water, all my hook lengths, and a couple of boosters. Well, I've got a booster there, that is a nice booster with a nice wide cap on it, because that my method feeder fits in there, so I can plug it up. Oh, that smells nice. That's the Power Scopex, and I've also got some haze, marine green haze, to try as well, and that is it. So I'm going to start pinging those 8mm pellets to as far as I can comfortably fire them, and then I'm going to start with a method feeder over the top of that and just have a look at what's happening. Just have a look, you know, are there any fish showing, are there any signs of fish shallow? Obviously I've got my pellet waggler to go over that shallow, but I've got a bomb as well to go over that. I've just seen a fish, a carp out there at about 40 metres, 45 metres. So I don't want to start out there. I want to catch fish on that loose fed line, you know, but if I whack a feeder out there, it might give the fish a reason to stay out there. I'm not quite sure how many people are going to fish down the middle of the lake today. A lot of these anglers are pole fishing. I'll just give you an idea of who's here, and there are quite a few anglers here practicing for the Golden Reel final, which I am once again covering right here on this channel, filming it for you. Well, we've got about a minute to the off. I'm going to kick off with a 30 gram, as you can see it's a 30 gram open method. I'm going to kick off with one of those new prototype hook baits that I've been using for about a month now. I've been catching quite a few fish on them. Not suited for every venue because they are all like an 8mm. These are an 8mm size, so obviously, you know, that's not suited for every venue. But venues like this where you've got big F1s and proper big, you know, big carp, then it's an ideal size really. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start. Is that it? Yeah, good luck, mate. Start off just firing a few pellets out there, going in line with that. I'm going slightly to my right, just because I've got a spare peg there, and just because of this banking here, it's just going to give me a better angle on my on the tip. That one wasn't very good, was it? Let's try and group these a little bit better now. So that's the sort of range I'm going to be fishing. The funny thing is, I hadn't seen any. Well, I'd seen probably two fish show while I was setting up. But in those last 5 minutes, just while I was waiting for the off, I saw 3 more down to my left. Just kind of roll. So there are some fish shallow, as you'd expect. But I'm just going to start on this to start with. I don't want to go out into that open water straight away. I'd rather catch where I am on that line without having to go out long, but that other rod is there ready to go. I'm going to set a stopwatch on this one, just so I've got a good idea of how long it's been out there. Just adjust that slightly, and that is it. I'm going to keep pinging them pellets. There are lots of bream in here as well, if you don't know the venue. Lots of bream. You know, I've weights up to £100 of bream, but I'm not sure if they've been feeding. So I'm just going to fish like this today for carp. Any bream that come along will be very welcome. So that's it. I'm just going to give this, you know, a couple of 5-minute casts just to see if there is anything there. Keep watching the water. I'm not going to feed the margin until later on, until the second half. And I'm only going to feed to the right here. And that's it. I'm just going to have a couple of 5-minute casts on this. Well, this has been out there almost 3 minutes. We've been fishing 18 minutes. Now I'm getting 1 or 2 indications. I think they're, to be honest, I think they're bream that are just milling about around the feeder. I haven't seen a carp caught. Lad on my left's got a skimmer. This feels like a bream. Just switched to a yellow, one of those yellow bandams. Not a bad nuisance fish them, are they really? Not the target. It's a couple of pound in the net. Taking me good weight boosters in between any bonus carp. Let's hook right in the middle of the bottom lip. Look at that. Well, we've been fishing 40 minutes now, and I've just got that one bream. Laddermill's got a skimmer, and that's it. I haven't seen another fish caught. Everybody what I can see opposite, just about, including Zach to my right, everybody started off fishing shallow on the long pole, and I haven't seen any fish caught. Getting the odd little indication on this, as though there's one or two skimmers or bream, whatever, milling about down there, but I was just about to pick that long rod up and just have a cast out there at 50 metres, just out in the middle of the lake. So I don't think anybody's fishing out there, but I just thought it might be worth a try. But before I do that, I'm just going to have 5 minutes on the waggler just to see if I can pick something up. Make sure that drag's undone. Just to see if I can pick any, just see if I can get a bite, anything. Nothing to lose really. Like I say, I'm not hearing anybody having caught anything. Everyone's long pole, long pole, long pole, long pole, long pole. And I have seen the odd fish move shallow, albeit much further out. Never know, might get a quick bite out of the blue. We can keep gusting a bit. This is a 4 gram waggler, this one. Yeah, that wind's hitting that now, that's not going to help. That wind is suddenly, that's terrible. Yeah. If the wind carries on like that, it's not going to do me any favours with this. Not unless I'm getting bites instantly, just past the feed. Yeah, if they're hitting it straight away, you've got a chance when there's a bit of a breeze on it. But if you're having to leave it in for any sort of length of time, that wind's, everything's against it. Yeah, it's not great, but I'll have a few more casts on it just to see if we can get any sort of an indication on it. Never know, we might just get a quick bite out of the blue. Only the second carp that we really know about. We've seen one caught on the other bank. He's got that one and that's it. I am now on the 12-foot rod. I'm out at 50 metres. This is first cast out there in that open water. Well, this is my first cast on that long line. It's been out there just over 4 minutes. Just had a couple of little twitches and then the whole lot's just dropped back. So I've just picked up and wound into it. I think it's a bream. It's first cast out there, and I am clipped up. Like I say, I haven't seen anyone else casting out there, but it's a very slow start. Been fishing 52 minutes now. I think it's a bream anyway. Unless it's an obliging carp or an F1. Just on one of those yellow abandoned waffers and a bayonet. Only 3 pound in the net anyway, even though it's an accident. We're on for £5 total now. It's nearly equates to a carp, doesn't it? Just on that yellow wafter. Let's get him in the silver net. That's it. I've got to have a cast back out there again now, haven't I? So if I'm not catching any carp, people keep putting accidents in the net, won't I? There it is. So I'll just get it back out there when you're loose feeding. Get that tip down. I'll set that stopwatch. That's it. Main thing is I've got to keep them pellets going in. That's the main thing. So they can turn up at any time on that line. Well, this is much slower than I expected. I didn't expect it to be brilliant at the start, but this is really slow all around the lake. I'm keeping them pellets going in. One of the questions I got asked this week on social media was someone was struggling firing out pellets like this. He often finds that the pellets end up down there. Top tip for that, something I learned off Bagger Bennett, off our latest online shallow fishing masterclass with Andy Bennett, is keep your frame even like that. Keep it straight. Don't have one side that's tight and the other one that's slack, like that or like that, because that will result in the pellets emptying down on your foot plate. Try and keep them parallel like that, keep them straight, and that way make sure that your catapult pouch only empties when it's going out there, so your pellets end up where you want them to be. Well, this has been out there nearly 5 minutes. It was a really positive pull. It's another bream, which is back on that loose fed line. It's really slow. There just aren't any signs. I think that landing net's big enough for that skimmer. Sliding down the silver's net. Well, we're just not hearing about any fish being caught at all, no carp or anything. I think Zach's had a fish, but that's the only one I've heard. Back on that short line, had a couple of little indications, and this has gone round now. Feels like it's another small bream, so it's encouraging that there might be some of those settling on that bait, but it's not ideal. But I mean, if they kept coming for 2 and 3 pounders every cast, and you know, that hook's come out in the net. Put it in there. Yeah, I've just got to keep checking them out. I mean, these bream, I mean, for those, if you don't know this venue, I am actually catching these on carp gear, basically. So these are purely accidents, that's why I'm calling them that. So in other words, if I was to hook a carp on this gear, then this is carp fishing gear, so I should land everything that I hook on this rig. So, well, we've just gone over the halfway stage, and the rain is here now, so I'm gonna have to get this bait brolly up and get my jacket on and stuff. It's fishing horrendously difficult. I've just spoke to Zach at the next but one. He's had 1 fish. Unbelievable. Lad on my left, he's got that 1 carp. I've got those 4 bream or skimmers for £7. We think Jamie Hughes is doing the best right down there on the end peg, on peg 2, but Zach says he's got about 8 fish, but he says they're small carp. We've just heard that Sam Brown over on the other bank has got probably 5 fish, and Andy May has probably got 5 fish over there. So it sounds a little bit better over there. So Zach's got 1 fish, I've got £7, and he's got 1 carp there. It's unbelievably difficult. I've no idea if any fish are going to rock up. It's one of those days where you're just kind of thinking, where is a run of fish going to come from? But I'm going to get this brolly up because that rain is coming, get my jacket on and start thinking about these margins now. I've got this right hand margin here, but I've also been putting balls and micros at about 6 metres where I could just drop a method on there, and you know, it's gone 1:30, it's gone up to 1:45 now, so that could be the time when we might get at least 1 or 2 fish turn up down these margins. Going to keep putting little balls. That wind's come now. It's going to bring that rain. I've been putting some there. It's about 6 metres. I could drop on that with a method. And then the other line is that right hand margin there that I'm now feeding with a few micros and corn. We are into the final 90 minutes. Let's move the cameras around for you just because of the bait brolly. I haven't had any more fish. I've got about £7, but we're not hearing about any fish being caught, you know, other than Jamie on the end peg. He had 8, we heard 8 small ones down there on peg 2, but it's just changed. The rain has just stopped and it's gone flat calm, and I don't know if you can make them out on this camera, but there are fish cruising out there. We can see them now. Whether they've been cruising about all the time and we couldn't see them because of the wind and ripple, and they're not really obvious, some of them, but there are fish out there moving around. I can see one there right over where my feeder is. So I've just picked up the 12-foot horizon distance, and I've gone out into the middle of the lake now with a method feeder. I'm still feeding those 8mm pellets via a catapult. I'm also putting a ball of ground mate there. Sorry, a ball of pellets there. 2 grains of corn short. I'll keep dropping a method on that. I'm topping this. That was a really fast knock, that. and then I'm feeding down this right hand margin. And when I've been on that 6 metre line and on this right hand margin, all you're getting tiny little indications on your tip, just as all the little skimmers there or whatever. So I've just got to keep feeding and feeding. 90 minutes left just about, so I'm out in the middle of the lake now, and what I'm going to do is, if I don't get anything on this cast, what I might do is have a couple of quick casts. If it is clipped up, just try and draw fish down, anything, just trying to get a fish. I've got the some of the bait haze, and I'm going to try some of that on it, just to try and get something to go down. But there are definitely one or two moving about out there when it's quite calm. Let's just drop back a little bit. That one on. Let's have a look. We looked at it, and it feels like another skimmer. Disappointing. It's been out there 7 minutes. It's 50. I'm not seeing any fish moving out there now. Just heard Zach catch one on my right. That's the only one that we've heard of. So I've had quite a few active casts on this. You know, I had 3 or 4 quick casts, and I've sat on one. I've been using the haze, trying to draw something in, or draw something down, should I say. And this is the only sign I've had. It's obviously not a carp, so I'm going to go back onto that loose fed line. So this is ready now, about the last hour, where if you are going to get a visit on your margins, then this is the sort of time when that's going to happen, isn't it? Another pound or so, pound and a half in the net. Unbelievable. I haven't had days like a day like this on here, even in the depths of winter. Never mind in September. Well, we're into the last 30 minutes, and it's just not changed. Can't really believe how hard it's fishing. There are some fish being caught. We've just heard on the other bank that I think Andy May's got a few fish, and down to our right have caught a few. You know, it's just here. I never dreamt it was going to be as hard as this. Fishing these margins is much better with a pole when you're only after 2 or 3 bites. But I never dreamt it was going to fish as hard as this. So into this last 30 minutes, just drop that, as you can see down that right hand margin. I've got a few small fish rattles, little indications on this, but I have them every time I've been on it. About 15 minutes ago I went on it on a really big slow liner, and it dislodged the feeder, and so that was definitely sign of a better fish. I don't know if it was a bream or a carp, so I had to bring it in and go back in again because it had moved the feeder and everything, but that's the only sign really of a better fish I've had on this line. Fish there, over there being landed. Can't tell who that is, but that was another tip. My tip's going. There's literally about a minute and a half left. I think this is a bream. Unbelievable, isn't it? I was thinking that those liners, those big liners that I had, were carp, and there could have been. Certainly one of them, I'm pretty sure it was too big to have been a bream. But yeah, it's another bream. Would have been interesting to see what weight of those you could have got today if you'd fished for them. Oh well, we finished on a fish anyway. I'm not going to get time to go back out there. Once again, I'm hooked right in the middle of the bottom lip. Well, we'll pop him in the net just so you can see what we've got. That's it, I think. It's a matter of seconds left. Well, what can we say about that? It's certainly caught me by surprise. I know the Spaniard pretty well, and it's really caught me out by how hard it's fished here. Yes, I haven't fished a pole, I haven't fished up in the water, tap in, slap in, I haven't fished a pole on the deck, I haven't done any of that, as you know, but even fishing like this, you know, even if you weigh off what the pole anglers have caught, usually you've had a day's fishing, you've caught a few fish. That's definitely not been the case. I've probably got £10 maybe, £10 of skimmers. Only really had a couple of big liners to suggest that there were any carp there, but I haven't hooked any carp, so yeah, it's a real eye-opener that really for next week. Whilst our part of the lake had fished really hard, there were some carp feeding across over on the other bank and down to our right. Andy May's 10 fish weighed 130 pounds, but it was Jamie Hughes on the MPEG who took the match win with just over 140 pounds. The fish in here are huge, so you don't need many bites to put together a big weight, and with some of the biggest names fishing in that £30,000 final on Saturday, we're sure it's going to be another incredible match.